So here's the next part of our discussion. You felt this tremendous love. Was that as a result of a tremendous sadness at the scale of the problem, and that saving one was better than none?
Ooh, that's a great question.
That's a good question. I don't know. The first thought that I had while you were asking me is that he always felt like there were more kids there, which I loved and I adored. But he always had something for me. I don't know how to explain it. He was always that one that I couldn't wait to see the next day, that I couldn't wait to take care the next day, or to spend some time with the next day. And I remember even now telling to myself, I can't get too attached. I am a person that gets attached. I am like this as a human being. And knowing that, I would always tell to myself, okay, don't get too attached, you can't do that. And I even remember asking the founder at the time, how much would an adoption cost? But I wasn't asking her to get a response towards me finding a way. I was asking her to get a response towards putting myself down, as if, okay, I can't do this, it's too expensive. Clearly, I need to take this out of my mind. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
So I didn't want to go with this mentality there. I kind of tried to avoid it because I didn't think I was able to do it. But I knew how attached I can get. So I think.
Well, it's interesting because Zen and I and Shirin, I believe, I don't know if you do, Rachel, vibrational energy flows, different states, different perceptions and what have you, and the connection. So I was one of 12 babies in one room, and 12, but 3 or 4 rooms full of babies, and my parents picked me, and I guess there is something that attracts us to other energies irrespective of what flesh sack size they're in. It's their essence. Zen, you're laughing there. Rachel, would you like to say anything? Because I don't want to keep you here longer than you've got.
I think this is a very, very important discussion, and I am where I'm supposed to be right now.
Fine. Okay, that's cool. So then,
can I just bring in something?
Please.
Because I know that Corinne was saying she's wanting to look at things, and one of the biggest things which I remember Michael, my supervisor, always talked about, because he was really talking about interracial adoptions. For him, that was the biggest thing, and the biggest part of the fact is that we don't really talk about that too. If we have a child that's a different color, right? Because they are always obviously going to be different, and that's really important. And from his thing is, you've got to always be talking about the elephant in the room. You've got to be talking about the obvious, and you've got to be talking all the time about how, really how, in the sense of celebrating that difference and looking at that difference in a whole new paradigm, a whole different way of experience. So someone from Nigeria, there's very different cultural kinds of things. They're going to want to go back home and just find out what that's about, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that that one part is you're really going to have to actively want to find out and encourage them to be around Nigerian people, so that
Ugandan
people, so that they can definitely get to understand those roots, the roots of that essence. And never ever shy away from any of those kinds of questions that are going to arise, because they are going to arise.
He already has loads of questions.
Yes.
Specifically, as you said, regarding skin color, because him being at school, other kids also seeing it, he gets many questions. So of course, this kind of puts him in, I don't know, in a weird, sometimes upset state, because it also upsets him.
Have you thought, are there any communities that you can go to that you could take your son to? Like, that where the moms get together and their children are all different backgrounds.
Come back for the next part of this discussion.